Hey guys, so today I'm reviewing the Shadow Children sequence by Margaret Peterson Haddix. It is a series of 7 novels, and the art on these covers are absolutely lovely. The first is Among the Hidden, Among the Impostors, Among the Betrayed, Among the Barons. I'm trying to make sure you can see the covers. Sorry if you can't. Among the Brave, Among the Enemy, and the last one is Among the Free. This entire series is about a person living in a totalitarian society. And years before the first book takes place, there was a drought and a famine, which basically dwindled down the food supply to nothing. I should probably do nothing rather than perfect, right? Nothing. And what ended up taking place was, in order to make sure that everyone was fed and well taken care of, the government passed a law called the Population Law, which stated that a married couple were only allowed to have 2 children. After the second child, they had to go and have a medical procedure done so that they couldn't have any more kids. Sometimes it would work, and sometimes it didn't. When it didn't, they ended up having the 3rd child, as I've stated, and they had a choice: either kill the child at birth, or they had to keep it hidden and no one could know of this existence of the child. Now, even though this law was to help with the food supply, it really has nothing to do with it, because the people that are well fed and can afford the food, they're barons, and barons are government workers. So basically the food stays in the government. Now, this is my first time doing a series review, so I've actually written some stuff down to make sure I remember it, and I hope this video doesn't go too long. I'll try to keep it as spoiler free as possible. Now, one thing I liked about this was the entire concept of this 3rd child. I didn't realize how much I would connect in the first book to the character because of the fact that I'm the 4th child in my family, so I didn't think that it would affect me as much as it did. But when I read the first story, I really connected with the character, because if I was able to survive in that world, I would be in the same boat as our main character. Now, I really liked seeing the character growth and development through most of the books. I found that it was very well done. As well as the character voice, I felt like even if they were in a corner and they whispered something, it was so powerfully written that you couldn't help but not be impressed with that. Now, the pacing of most of the novels was extremely well done as well. I couldn't help but start reading the next chapter or picking up the next book and starting to read it. And I think that shows that the writing of Margaret Peterson Haddix was extremely well done. Now, the mystery and suspense, I had some of it taking place during this series, but there were other times where it was completely lost on me because of the fact that I already knew who the person was or what was going to take place. And unfortunately, that did slow down the pacing of book 6 for me, because I already kind of knew that there was something that wasn't going to take place, even though it was written and the character thought it had. I didn't have any mystery. I knew that that was not what was true. I knew that at the end that it was going to work out okay for the character, and that just basically slowed down the pacing of the novel for me. Now, I really like that the story in each of the books is told through a 3rd child. Sometimes we have a reoccurring 3rd child, and sometimes we have a new 3rd child that we're following, but all of them are connected. We have Luke, Nina, Trey, Matthias, Percy, and Leah, and I really enjoyed getting to meet these characters, hear their backstory, and just see them for who they really are. Now, one thing that did get a little frustrating at times, but it made sense, was when characters would be in the next book and you'd see like how they reverted back to what they were like when they were a shadow child. And it did get annoying at times because you're like, they've come so far and yet they're back here at step 1 again. But it made sense, because if you're raised a certain way for 10 years saying you can't let people know who you are, you can't let people see you, you can't talk to people, of course you're going to revert back to that in certain situations. So even though it was frustrating, it really did make sense. Now, I did have a couple of issues with this series, and I've already spoke about the one with book 6, but I wanted to mention that I had a big problem with book 7 as well, which is the last one. On the front it says, "Fans of the series won't be disappointed," and that's a quote from the school library journal. And unfortunately, I was disappointed with this ending. I found that I had a lot of questions that weren't answered, and I also had a major problem with the fact that it seemed like the character we were following in this one completely changed from the character we were following in a different book, when we were following him in a different book, I should say. Now, the reason why I'm stating that is his personality was different, his voice was different, and he was carrying on an internal dialogue with another character, so he was speaking out loud, but he was listening to this other character talk in his head. And I'm not sure what the author was trying to do with that, but it just came across to me personally like I was following a crazy character, and I didn't like that. I found that the pacing of this story was very slow because of the fact that I felt like we were basically watching and spending a lot of time on non-existent, unimportant issues, and I felt like the last 20 pages of the book is where we actually had the whole story take place. Now, the last thing I want to state, and this is saying a lot for this entire series, I did enjoy it, but with the way the series ended, as I said, I had a lot of unanswered questions, and I also felt that Mockingjay was a better ending to its series than this book was for the Shadow Children series. I was very disappointed in the ending. And I just want to state one reason why, and I never thought I would be saying this for any series at all. Those of you that have read this series, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I had a major problem with the issue of character death. Now, in other books where you have characters that die, you might be upset that they died. And that's a good thing. It means that you like that character. Unfortunately for me, there really wasn't a lot of character death in this series. This is a spoiler, so just mute me right now. Okay? You've got me muted? Alright. What I wanted to state is the fact that there was one death in this entire series. It took place in book 1, and basically the author had the entire series of books riding on the coattails of that one death. And there wasn't any other death, so it took away a lot of that mystery and suspense because of the fact that this series was completely dealing on the fact that it's a life and death situation every single day. If this world was so dangerous, why was there only one death? Why didn't they kill more people? More of these third children? You can bring me back on. That was all I wanted to state with regards to that. That was my biggest issue for the entire series. Overall, I liked the series. I think if I read it when I was younger, I would have probably not have had the problems I had with it now. But I did enjoy it. I thought that the world was okay, but I didn't find there was a lot of world building to it. But it was okay. I enjoyed it. Would I reread it? I'd probably read a couple of the books again, but there's certain ones that I don't think I'll ever be picking up and reading again. That's my review. This is my 4th completed series on my bookshelf. Yay! And the challenge to finish a series, or at least to start and finish a series in the month of June, was a success as well. So I will see you guys in my next video. Till then, go and pick up a random book and read. Bye guys.